What's going on, guys? It's Jacob, and I'm here to bring a new series to the channel called My Confidence Rankings, where I break down every card. I'm going to give you guys my most confident picks to my least confident picks, a little reason why, and yeah, let's get into it. So, starting off, we're going to go with my most confident. Let's just get this out of the way. By far, Jacoby Smith. Let's get this guy over here. Jacoby Smith is going to run through Nico Price. It's not even close. It's going to be brutal. It's not going to be pretty. Feel bad for Nico Price here, but it's just got to be done. It's his time. The UFC is feeding him to the wolves, and Jacoby Smith is that wolf. So he's definitely a lock here. Second most confident, I'll say, gotta be Ilya Topuria. He's got to be a top dog here. Charles is just getting older. He's 35, about to be 36. Ilya Topuria, the power that man has in his hands is insane. He's a confident pick here. Charles always has that underdog shot, but in this case, I just don't know if his chin is going to be able to handle the power of Topuria. So I guess we can go the other way. Let's go for something I'm not that confident in. Kind of maybe a bit of a surprise, but very not confident in this one. We'll go midway in the low for Rujo versus Cortez. Now, I just don't think Cortez's wins are all that great to be granting her to be this big of a favorite. And Viviane has gone the distance against great fighters like Karina Silva, who she beat, who's 18-5 in the UFC. And at 38, she looks really good. And I know Cortez has been dealing with mental problems outside of the octagon. She was thinking about quitting fighting, so I don't know where her head is at. Against a girl like Viviane, who's a dog, this is going to be a close one, so I'm not very confident in that either. I guess we can move on to a medium confidence pick. Let's go with G-Rod. I'll put him in a middle tier confidence because I think G-Rod has enough power in his hands. He's just every punch he lands is like a bomb. And Hermansson has had a long layoff. Hermansson does better in 5-rounders like we saw against Piper, but in a 3-rounder against a guy like G-Rod, who's just a power puncher, I don't know if he's going to be able to hang. Now, G-Rod doesn't have the most fluent striking. He's definitely not a volume puncher. He's just trying to land shots to knock your head off. So there's a chance that Hermansson could work the clinch and control G-Rod and win a decision. I could see that. And we just don't know how well Hermansson's chin is going to hold up at this point in his career. So I'm leaning G-Rod just because if anyone's going to do significant damage, it will be him. I could see Hermansson winning a snooze fest. That could happen, if he's playing a smart game plan here. But I think the 3-rounder helps him. He would have beaten Cannonier in a 3-rounder, even though he ended up getting knocked out in that loss. And I think that's why his stock has been lowered a little bit. So medium confidence, G-Rod should be able to get it done. But he's so flat-footed and he doesn't have that much volume. So if it goes to a decision, I could see him losing, especially if he's being controlled. Unless he's not landing big shots. But I think he could. He should land big shots. So, medium confidence for him. Kind of around that boat, I'll say a little bit higher, is Peyton Talbot versus Felipe Lima. Felipe Lima has good ground game. He should be able to dominate Peyton Talbot on the ground, whose ground game has been exposed. He got exposed by Barcelos. And this fight is... I know he said he has been training for this fight, but I don't think he was expecting a guy like Felipe Lima. And I think Felipe Lima he's so hungry. He has that dog in him. He's a good grappler. He's a good striker. Their striking should be close. It should be very competitive, but on the ground game, it should be over. Felipe Lima should have the much better skill set on the ground. So for that reason, you can't pick Talbot here unless you think he's just going to have a technical striking masterclass against Lima. And I don't think that's going to happen here. I really don't see that happening at all. If Felipe Lima starts to lose the striking exchanges, I think he's going to shoot for the takedowns, and I think he'll likely get them. As we saw Payton against Barcelos, he took him at will. So, yeah, I'm medium confidence about that one. Now, the next one, I'll put this it's almost like in between. Deniz, he could be high medium, or he could be low high. I'm kind of torn of where I want to put him here. But he should be high. I'll put him a little further down here. But there's no reason why Deniz should lose this fight. He is the technical kickboxer. He's a better striker, a much better striker than Hines is here. And there's no reason why he should lose this fight. The last fight that he lost, he was getting taken down and getting control on the ground. But a regional guy like Hines, who's showing up on short notice, I don't think one, his cardio is going to be enough to wrestle for 3 rounds continuously. And I know he's trained with Thomas Peterson, so his wrestling and his takedown offensively and defensively should be pretty sound. But to go against a guy like Deniz, who's proven himself in the UFC to be able to hang, he's nothing great, but for a short notice regional guy like Hines showing up on a couple days' notice, Deniz should win this on the feet. It could be a knockout, could be a decision if Hines manages to hold on, but this should be a highlight fight for Deniz here. So next up, we'll do another medium. I like McKinney versus Borshev here. I think McKinney is medium confidence pick. Now, McKinney is so unreliable, it's hard to trust him. You never know what the hell he's going to do out there. He's either getting a finish or he's getting knocked out or getting finished. But the thing is, the Slava Claus just really does no ground game. So I think if McKinney can go out wild and doesn't manage to get knocked out himself, he could take this to the ground. He could get a submission. And I know it's tough because Slava Claus is a tough dude. Like, he's not going to tap to hardly anything. You're going to have to put him out. But I think McKinney, if he wrapped up something fast enough and he got to the neck, I think he's not going to need a tap. I think he could choke him out unconscious, honestly. So medium confidence because skill-wise, I think McKinney's better, but he's just so unreliable and he goes into wars, so you can never be that confident in someone like that. But skill for skill, he should be better than Slava Claus here. So he's a decently confident pick. Next up, high medium, I'll go Pantoja. Pantoja should win this fight against Kai Kara-France. Kai Kara-France is too overly ambitious with his hands. He throws these bombs, and people don't punish him enough for it. But a heavy wrestler like Pantoja will punish him for that. And I think he's gotten off the hook in a lot of his previous fights where guys don't want to go to the ground. They just want to stand and bang, like a guy like Brandon Moreno. But against a guy like Pantoja, especially if Pantoja starts to get outworked on the feet, he is shooting takedowns. And I know Kai Kara-France has a very good takedown defense, but he can still be held up against the cage and controlled. And a guy like Pantoja, where that's his bread and butter, I could see him easily doing that, racking up 3 rounds out of 5 and winning the fight on a decision. I could see a submission. A finish in this seems a little bit unlikely. I think Pantoja he could submit Kai Kara-France because it's happened before. You know, Kai Kara-France has been finished multiple times by KO and sub. But I think he's tough enough, and he's young enough too where the age is a bit of a concern. That's why Pantoja is not a high confidence. If this was a couple years ago, I would say it is high confidence for Pantoja. But as a 35-year-old flyweight, it's starting to get to that point where how long is Pantoja's title run going to keep going for? He's already at 4. This would be number 5 if he wins. So you can't pick him with super high confidence just because Kai Kara-France is tested. You know, he's been doing great. He's probably hitting his physical prime right now, or just getting into it within the last year or so. So that age-wise and career trajectory-wise, it is favoring Kai Kara-France, but I just still think he's too wild with the hands. He throws without care, and I think a guy like Pantoja can really catch him with that. I think he can punish him for that and win a fight like that, even if it's submission or decision. So, we got 4 more. Now, I almost want to put this as medium, like low medium, but you gotta go low. I mean, yeah, we'll go low just because these guys are so brand new to the UFC. I mean, both of them are making their debuts. They're both regional scene guys. Neither of them really should be in the UFC. The thing with Ewart is that I've watched his tape. He just does not look good. He doesn't look technical anywhere. And there's nowhere that I've seen from his game that I thought, oh, this guy's good. He can hang in the UFC. Nothing about him has suggested that to me at all. Whereas at least with McVeigh, I've seen he has good submission game. He has good grappling. He can land up a Darce choke on anyone. He's done that. He's had sneaky submissions. So I think against a guy like Ewart, who's really not that good, if this fight goes to the ground, McVeigh's going to have the advantage. And for that reason, I got to pick him, especially being an underdog here too. I think it's pretty fair value on him. I thought he would have been the favorite, but it is a very short notice replacement. They're throwing it together, so I can see why the odds are kind of even, but it's hard to tell which guy's really better. But I'm going with McVeigh here, but got to go low confidence since they're both fresh, brand new to the UFC. They're both younger. So yeah, I'll go with McVeigh though, low confidence. Now, we want to go Dariush Moicano or Emil versus Delgado. Let's do Dariush versus Moicano. I'll put this, gotta put this low, a little bit higher up in here. I think Moicano is on a better path within the last couple years than Dariush, so I will give him the lean here. But it's tough because we've seen Dariush perform really well against guys who want to grapple and wrestle and hold you up against the cage, like we saw with his fight against Mateusz Gamrot. We saw that. We saw Dariush could really keep a good distance from a grappler or a guy who's trying to wrestle him heavy, and he can win the striking exchanges. He was the better striker in that fight. And Moicano's striking is not great. So it's tough because, yeah, Dariush's chin is cracked. It's been brutally busted those last two fights, but Moicano only has 2 wins out of 20 by knockout. So he's not a power puncher either. So this will likely be a back and forth pillow fist striking exchange between these two veterans, and it's hard to say who's going to win. I doubt this goes to grappling. If someone does take it to the ground, I think it will be Moicano, because there's a chance that he's stronger than Dariush at this point in their careers, and there's a chance he could just out physical or out power him physically. So I do lean Moicano. I don't think either of these guys will get subbed. I think it's more of a control time, racking up type of thing. It's hard to say because we've seen Dariush do well against guys who want to have a control, grapple heavy pressure style. And I think at this point in these guys' careers, it's really is a coin toss. So I'm leaning Moicano, but it's hard to say. And next up, we will go, we'll do this right here. I want another low confidence pick here. Maybe I want to move this around. Maybe, honestly, nah, yeah, we'll do this. Maybe this, honestly. Yeah, I think this seems about right in terms of how I'm feeling. So, yeah, we'll do Emil versus Delgado. I'm barely picking Delgado. I've picked Emil in all of his fights in the UFC so far. It's been great, but it's tough to see him go against a striker who's also technical but has the heart. We saw in his last fight, Emil's last fight against Gomes, where he would have lost that fight if Gomes had more heart and he had the desire to really push through the pain and do what needs to be done to win. But he didn't. And Hyder took over. He won the mental battle in that third round. He was slugging it out. He did enough just to get it done on the scorecards by a split. So when you look at that, yeah, Hyder is a dog, and anyone who has any quit in them, Hyder is going to beat him. Anyone who is not willing to go in there and die, Hyder is going to beat him. But Jose Delgado, he's young, upcoming. He's very hungry. He's good on the feet. He might even be a better striker than Hyder, because, you know, Hyder is not the most technical. He really is trying to go out there and swing. So yeah, Jose probably is, you know. And I think Jose Delgado has the heart to keep in this fight. I don't think he'll give up. He's too young. He's too hungry. And I think he just, even besides being young, we saw Gomes, he's young too, and he still kind of folded in that fight. But I don't think Delgado's going to go like that. I could see this being just a back and forth striking match where whoever's landing more and landing more accurately is going to win the fight, because I don't see either of these guys necessarily getting knocked out. I don't really see it happening. I don't see a finish here. So if this does go to a decision, it's going to be very close, because if anyone is landing the bigger shots and having the crowd go crazy, we've seen Emil do that. Just throw any carrot to the wind and just go in throwing bombs and throwing haymakers and in a huge crowd. That could influence the judges saying, all right, this guy's going out there, he's pushing the offensive more than Delgado. Maybe he could win from that. So I'm low confidence in the Delgado pick. I just think he's a bit more technical, and I think he's not going to quit. But Emil's good. Emil's a dog. He's undefeated for a reason. It's hard to pick against him because this is my first time ever doing so. So I'll say it's very low confidence there. Next up, final one, Josh Van versus Brandon Royval. Now, this, I could either put this just about right in here, maybe a low medium. It could go in either one of these. I'd say it fit either one of these places, but which way do we want to go? Am I more this is probably one of the toughest ones for me to decide. I'll do low confidence now. This is more of just picking Brandon Royval because he has the better experience with higher level competition. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put this here. I'm more confident than that. I think Brandon Royval wins this fight. I think he has the better experience with higher level competition. He's fought in all the greats of the division, and he's beaten a lot of them too. You know, his record makes him seem worse than he actually is. Every time in his fights, he's almost always a damn underdog. And against a guy like Josh Van, who's only 23, yeah, Josh Van is really good. He's looking great so far in the UFC, but he's only 23, and he just has nowhere near the experience of Royval. And I think Royval can take this fight wherever he wants to. With a guy like Josh Van, he's really limited to only keeping it on the feet. Josh Van has good takedown defense, he has good sprawls, but at the same time, he is a one-dimensional fighter, and at a certain point in his career, he's going to get exposed. He's going to take a loss. I didn't think Charles Johnson was going to be the guy to do it and knock him out, but we've seen him go to war. We've seen him get knocked out. He went to war with Shirez. He got knocked down a couple times. His chin is not, granted, can be cracked. And against like a guy like Royval, who's a crafty veteran still in his prime, I could see Royval even landing a finish here. Do I think that happens? Probably not. I could see it likely going to a decision in a very technical striking match. And the way that Josh Van would win this fight is if he just racks up the numbers. If he just racks up total strikes, completely outlands Royval here, which he does in almost all his fights. I mean, he throws a million strikes per minute. Like, it's insane how much volume he has. I could see him winning through that. That's why I'm not as confident in Royval, because Royval is not going to be able to keep up with the volume. And if this goes to a decision, it's going to be tough. Josh Van has power in his hands too. He lands a lot of damage shots. You know, he's knocked out guys. He knocked out Bruno Silva. So, and he should have knocked out Cody Durden too, but but Josh Van's not like a power puncher. He's kind of like a Max Holloway. He just beats you up with volume and breaks you down in the later halves of fights, like a third round, like he did against Bruno Silva. But I just think the veteran craftiness of Brandon Royval here will be enough to get the job done. But at the same time, Josh Van, he's been going on a crazy streak, and at 23, you gotta respect it. So I cannot say it's a very high confidence pick. But alrighty, guys, this is my first of the series of UFC confidence rankings for every card. So let me know in the comments if you guys liked it or not. Give this video a like if you enjoyed. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of these takes. And yeah, I'm going to be bringing this as a series to the channel, so be looking for this next week as well too. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys.